All right, we live.
All right, give me a second. Let me know when you get that.
Okay. Got it.
I got another one I'm sending you. Got it.
Come on, sir.
Okay. 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 All right. All right. All right. Let's clap it up. Clap it up. All right. Tonight, it's brotherhood class. All right. It's brotherhood class. And what is our motto when we go to brotherhood class? When we go to brotherhood class, everything that we do in brotherhood class is synonymous with sisterhood. You understand? Everything that we talk about goes for the sisters also. When we had these classes in Israel, we include all of Israel. No one is left out when it comes to these laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? And when you want them proper breakdowns of these law, statutes, and commandments, there's only one place that you can get them. That's right here in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. Tonight's class, the topic of tonight's class is From the Civil War to Civil Rights. Nothing has changed for Israel. You understand? And speaking on this topic, we've been here since we've hit these shores of the Americas. We have been destroyed as a people. We have been destroyed so much so that we believe in our enemy. The scriptures tell us what? Trust not thine enemy, right? But we, as a people, as a nation of people, cannot get past trusting our enemy. We put everything we have into our enemy. You understand? And for 400 years, we have been fighting for civil rights. Since we got so called emancipated, we've been fighting for civil rights. The so called Chinese man, 6 people get hurt. 6 Chinese people get hurt, and they automatically create a Asian hate law within 2 weeks. You understand? And we praise them for that. You understand? While we sit around and we get no laws, for our people. We are destroyed as a people to watch other nations of people come into these Americas and step right over top of us. You understand? So tonight's topic is from the Civil War to civil rights. Nothing has changed for Israel. And with that, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We've been bringing this truth since 1969. And what is that truth? That truth is that the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called natives are the true biblical Jews of the Bible. That we're going to get into this topic. You understand? Let's see. Our people have been enslaved in these Americas and by these Europeans since the late 1400s. Remember, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. Sailed the ocean blue, came over here and kidnapped 1,100 Taino Indians. Took them back over to, what's that? Italy or and in that beginning of that slave trade, he kidnapped 1,100 Indians and only 300 survived. He said that's a good business. Good business. Why? Because they had free labor. You understand? And the same thing happened to the so-called blacks that fled out of Jerusalem in 70 A.D. In 70 A.D., we fled out of Jerusalem into the west coast of Africa, where we were captured by the Arabs and the Africans and sold to the Europeans, which today is known as the transatlantic slave trade. Now, the European today is trying to change it to the transatlantic migration. Right in front of our eyes today, they're trying to wipe out our history. And the reason why we have these classes today is so that we remember our history. You understand?
Mhm.
Now, first thing I want to do is I want to go want to talk about, you understand, us being over here and the things that were created to keep us subjugated to a slave identity. Want to keep us in within a slave role. They keep us in a slave role. You understand what I'm saying? And these are the things that happen to us. And they have created laws to keep us right where they have us at today. You understand? They throw us a bone every once in a while to make us feel as though, you know, we're advancing. And this is where our leaders have, you know, totally misguided us. You understand?
Come.
So, with the first thing I want to go to, I want to let's talk about some of the laws that were created to hold us, to keep us held hostage. You understand? Laws that were created to keep us enslaved. We look at these laws today as though they are not, though we are not enslaved, but these laws are created to keep us enslaved. The first law that I want to talk about and I want to touch on is the 1638 doctrine of exclusion, which was started in Maryland. Maryland was the first colony to create a law to keep the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives in check and enslaved. You understand?
Come.
The doctrine of exclusion was a Maryland doctrine of exclusion was collectively written by the Maryland colony in 1638. The states that states the following: neither the existing black population, their descendants, nor any other blacks shall be permitted to enjoy the fruits of white society. Understand that, right? They wanted to make sure that we did not enjoy the fruits of white society. What are the fruits of white society? Name some things that are the fruits of white society. What do you think the fruits of white society are?
So, like, sir, if I could, some of the fruits is real generational wealth.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like landscape, more real estate. It's a lot.
Right.
Real estate,
and that's the most major thing. You understand?
Come.
You understand that these laws that they create hold us in bondage. The Maryland doctrine of exclusion. Listen, after they got us over here in slavery, what was that, in 1619, right? About 1619. And enslaved our people. They understood how hard the work was, right? And they looked at us and they said, wow, look how hard these people work and look at this kingdom that they are building for us. We could never do this on our own. And they looked and they understood that if we got free to build and create on our own, we would surpass them. They already knew that from the jump.
Right.
So they created a law, the doctrine of exclusion, to make sure that we didn't enjoy the fruits of white society. And when I say that, I'm talking about the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. You understand? Until this day, think about it, right? A fruit of white society, you said, just like you said, real estate. You understand? They had the land grab. When was the land grab? Land grab was in 18 in the 1850s, 1840s, the land grab. Can you look that up?
Come on, sir.
Anyway, the land grab was a thing where, go ahead.
The land rush of 1889.
1889. Okay, right after the emancipation, right? Then they had the land grab or the land rush, right? Where they were just giving away acres and acres and acres of land. Let me ask a question. Why were they just giving away acres and acres and acres of land? And remember, they were doing this before 1889 too, because remember, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and all of these other um uh
Oppressors.
oppressors. There we go. I didn't want to say the other thing. Oppressors had acres and acres and acres of land and had slaves on those acres. The land grab was way before then. Now, why were they giving away acres of land like that?
So, like, sir, were they giving it away, or were they really taking it from the people that was already on the land?
No, they were giving of course they were taking the land from the natives.
Right.
You understand? But they were giving it to Europeans. They were just giving it away. All you had to do was run out to where there was nobody on some land. All you had to do was put down flags, and that was your stake of land. But you didn't have to pay for them. Now remember this: why were they just giving land away? Think about what they had us in.
What kind of slavery?
Slavery, right? Why did they have slaves?
For labor.
Right. What did they not want to do? They did not want to till the land.
Right.
They did not want to work the land. Think about it, right? Land was worthless unless you had slaves. That was the first commodity. Think about it. Slaves was the first commodity because no European wanted to be out there working and tilling and farming land. Land was worthless. That's why they gave it away. Until you put slaves on land, land is worthless at that time. You understand? Because none of them wanted to work hard enough to till that land and reap the benefits of that land with their own hands. You understand? So with that, they wanted to keep so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives subjugated to being slaves. You understand? And they became, naturally, we became what?
Sharecroppers.
No, not sharecroppers, not right now. Not at this point. But we became what they call it, subordinate, non-compensated, non-competitive workforce of free labor. You understand? You get a couple of slaves, you put them on that land, everything that you yield off of that land is free to you.
Right.
Just the slaves were the most expensive things at that time. You know, they didn't want to work the land. So you got a couple of slaves to work that land. That's free labor. You get to lay around all day, drink lemonade and do everything else. You understand what I'm saying? Hold up on that. We're going to wait on that. Yeah, we're going to wait on that. Because that's going and going and going. We're going to wait on that. I want you to, that first article that I sent you. Why don't you pull that first article?
Black codes or Jim Crow?
The black codes first. Hold up for a second. Let me make sure I grab it first. Okay. Go ahead. Hit the black codes. Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me. Yeah, black codes. Go ahead.
Black Codes, United States. This is from Wikipedia. The Black Codes, sometimes called the Black Laws, were laws which governed the conduct of African Americans.
You hear that? They got laws to govern African Americans. You understand? We were not considered humans. You understand? So they had laws to keep us in place, just like they got laws today to keep us in place. You understand? That's the reason why we have over 2 million brothers in the prison system, locked up and tied up in the prison system today. This is not a new thing. What's going on with us today is not a new thing. This is something that has been happening since we hit the shores of America. Go ahead.
Both free and freed men. In 1832, in 1832, James Kent wrote that in most of the United States, there is a distinction in respect to political privileges between free white persons and free colored persons of African blood. And in no part of the country do the latter. In point of fact, participate equally with the whites in the exercise of civil and political rights.
Listen, check this out. That civil rights thing that's been a fight since the beginning. You understand? Go ahead.
Although black codes existed before the Civil War, and although many northern states had them, the southern states confided such laws in everyday practice. The best known of these laws were passed by southern states in 1865 and 1866.
Now think about the propaganda, right? It talks about both the northern and the southern states had the laws, right? And they used the propaganda of the Civil War that if you fight on this side, you can be free if you come up north, right? Mm-hmm. Think about this. What did they call this? What did they call captives in the South? Called them slaves, right?
Slaves.
What did they call them in the North?
Servants
and butlers, but both of them did the same job.
Right.
You understand? Servants and butlers, or maids and butlers. You understand? They just made it sound pretty.
Right.
But they had you working just the same. You understand? Okay. And with that Civil War thing, the North knew that if the South continued to go on the direction that they were going, they would break off because they would become way more powerful than the North. That was a fighting reason behind the Civil War. The Civil War was never behind keeping slaves together. It was all about keeping the union together, keeping the states together as one country. That was it. Right. You understand? Go ahead. So all of that propaganda makes us think that the propaganda that we've been given is that, you know, that Civil War was behind slaves, to free the slaves. It had nothing to do with freeing the slaves. And Abraham Lincoln tells that in a letter he wrote. Go ahead.
The best known of these laws were passed by southern states in 1865 and 1866 after the Civil War in order to redirect African Americans' freedom. And
you hear that right there? In order to restrict. Go ahead.
In order to restrict African Americans' freedom, and in order to compel them to work for either low or no wages.
When have you ever heard of a slave working for a wage?
Right.
You understand? Only thing they work for is a little bit of food to keep them alive and a little bit of clothes on their back, you know, just to help them survive. That's it.
Right.
You understand? That's no wages. We worked for free. We was a non-competitive, subordinate, non-compensated workforce. That's all we were. You understand? We worked for free to get nothing. Think about it, right? Every nation that something has happened to, everybody received what they call it. Reparations. But when it comes to talking about reparations for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives, oh no. Right. That's off the board. You understand? It only comes up around what? Voting time. That's it. It's a ploy that they use. You understand? Not that we in the ISUPK sitting around waiting for reparations. We not sitting around. We waiting around. We standing up and we going out and we helping our own people. You understand? But go ahead, finish reading that.
Come. And it's like since the colonial period, colonies and states had passed laws that discriminated against free blacks. In the South, these were generally included in slave codes.
All right, hold that right there, right? We're going to go to Psalms chapter 83. Psalms 83, and let's drop down to that. Let's start at that second verse. Go ahead.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and 2.
As a matter of fact, start at the top.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and 1. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. Verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
Say that again.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And that crafty counsel are those laws that they created to keep us where we are. You understand what I'm saying? To keep us subjugated under them. You understand? We have to stop trusting in America. We have to stop believing that America is going to help us. You understand? A people that hate you will never stand up to help you.
Right.
You understand? And this is the problem that we have as a people. We keep believing in a nation that is not out to help us. Read that line again.
Book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult.
No, start back at 3.
Oh, it's like at 83 and 3. They have taken crafty counsel against our people.
Go ahead.
And consulted against our hidden ones.
They have consulted. Who are the hidden ones?
Oh, sir. So-called blacks, his Latinos, and First Nation people.
There you go. We are the hidden ones. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 4. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation.
And that's exactly what they have done to us. They have cut us off from being a nation. Now, a lot of us think we're Negroes. We think we niggers. We think we black. We think we wetbacks. We think we redskins. We think we everything but what the Most High created us to be.
Right.
You understand? They have totally cut us off from being a nation. We don't even know who we don't even know the people that we were before slavery.
Right.
We don't understand who we were before slavery. You understand? And that's the problem with us. And then this is again, that's the problem with us trusting in America. You understand? We trust that these people are going to give us our true identity.
Right.
So much so we so destroyed that we think we Egyptians, we think we Africans. You understand? We trust in Buddhism, we trust in atheism, everything but what the Most High has given us. Right. You understand? We are destroyed as a people. See, they have taken crafty counsel. And as long as we keep worshiping things that the Most High did not give us, this is the reason why we're going to stay in the condition that we're in. Because we keep believing in everything that our oppressor gives us. You understand? We keep consulting to our oppressor to give us our true identity. Our oppressor is not going to give us our true identity because he understands that if we find out who we really are, we're going to rise. You understand? We're going to rise. Go ahead.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
The name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. We will never remember who we are. Why? Because we've been taught that we are African Americans.
Right.
You understand? We've been taught that we are in a big melting pot and we have to come together and we have to get along. You understand?
Right.
I mean, that is the furthest thing from the truth. You understand? Think about it, right? They teach us from children to do what?
What, love everybody?
Love everybody, you understand? But more than that, they teach us to pledge our allegiance unto them.
Right.
You understand? And when we pledge our allegiance to any nation, we pledge our unallegiance to our own people.
Right.
We pledge our allegiance to the very country that goes about destroying us. They teach us to pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America,
Right.
and to the republic for which they stand.
Mhm.
You understand? One nation is not under God. This nation has never been under God.
Right.
You understand? This nation has been under, what am I trying to say?
Mhm.
This nation is under
It's
under duress for us. Go ahead.
I was gonna say principalities.
Under principalities, exactly. Under this nation is this is a living hell for us.
Right.
You understand? And we are destroyed as a people. Think about it, right? Just like I said, they have us in captivity, having us to believe in a nation of people that has nothing but destruction for us written all over us. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I want to drop that, right? We're going to go back to the article. I want you to drop down to what is that? Let me see. Hold up. 1, 2, that third paragraph.
Before the war?
Yep.
All right. Before the war, northern states that had prohibited slavery also enacted laws similar to the slave codes.
You hear that right there? Think about the northern states that prohibited slavery enacted similar laws as the slave code. So, like I said, they didn't call their slaves. They just called them maids and butlers.
Right.
You understand? Just to make it seem better, to make it seem more what they call it, more civil,
more PC.
Yeah, more civilized. You understand? Go ahead.
Come. Take from the top. Before the war, northern states that had prohibited slavery also enacted laws similar to the slave codes and the later black codes.
Right.
Connecticut, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and New York enacted laws to discourage free blacks from residing in those states. They were denied equal political rights, including the right to vote, the right to attend public schools, and the right to equal treatment under the law. Some of the northern states, those which had some of the northern states, those which had them, repelled such laws around the same time that the Civil War ended and slavery was abolished by constitutional amendment. Damn.
Right. So listen, laws were created in the North and the South. Listen, they talk about the left and the right wing, right? But this bird has only one head. Where one wing goes, the other wing goes. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
They created laws up and down the board to keep us in a slavery state. Think about look at what we're going through today. Brothers and sisters get killed and murdered all day, every day. Didn't they hear that sister was on TV the other day, the one that got punched by the police, had a baby in her hand, and punched by the sheriff? You understand what I'm saying? Listen, they have no love for us. We have no rights in America.
Right.
This is the reason why we have to come together. Being separate and being individuals in America is the very thing that gets us killed and murdered on the streets of America.
Right.
The scriptures tell us, Zephaniah 2:1 says what? Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. The thing that we don't understand is that we are a nation of people that are not desired.
Right.
We have to come together, but not just come together. We have to come together on one accord.
Right.
This is the thing that destroys us the most, not being together on one accord. Mm-hmm. Us believing in atheism, Buddhism, Egyptology, Islam and all of these other Christianity and all of these things. These are the things that keep us divided, and these are the things that keep us destroyed.
Right.
You understand? All of these nations know that as long as we stay in the state that we're in, as long as we keep believing in America, we will continually be destroyed.
Right.
This is the reason why they created those laws. This is the reason why the doctrine of exclusion was created, to keep us subjugated. They understood that they needed to put laws in place so that we could not get over them.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Think about what happened right after the Reconstruction, right after slavery, right after the so-called emancipation, right? 40 years after the emancipation, we already had millionaires. Right. How is that? How is that from a people who were supposed to be fools,
right?
Who were supposed to be lower? You understand? Who was supposed to be the scum of the earth? Right. Why is that? You understand? How did we become millionaires? At that time, the first thing we did was we gathered together. We understood and we knew who our common enemy was.
Right.
You understand? And we knew that we had to work together. Like I said before, the scripture says, gather together, O nation not desired. Those people coming out of the Reconstruction understood that they were a nation of people that were not desired. We know we have to work together. No matter what differences we have, we know we have to come together because we have a common enemy.
Right.
You understand? Gather yourself together, O nation not desired. You understand?
Come.
Let's drop that. Give me 2 Corinthians. Second Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17.
It's the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. Wherefore come out from among them.
It says, wherefore come out from among them. You understand? We have to come out from among the customs and cultures of America. You understand? The customs and cultures of America are the very things that destroy us. You understand? Believing in America is what destroys us. You understand? Believing that we are Americans is another thing that destroys us. You understand? Believing that we have equality, that we have the same chances as that our European counterparts have,
right?
The oppressor. You understand? We believe that we have those same advantages. We do not have those same advantages. People always say, well, we got billionaires. No, we do not have billionaires.
Right.
We do not have a single billionaire in America that is of so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native descent. Let me explain to you why. Anytime a nation of people can change you from a millionaire to broke in a single day, you are not a millionaire. You are not a billionaire.
Right.
Anytime you speak up for your people and they can change your situation overnight, you are not a millionaire and you are not a billionaire.
Right.
They allow, and hear what I'm saying, they allow certain people to go through so that they can say, well, see, he made it. He did it. He came out of the same conditions you were in and he made it. If he can do it, so can you.
Right.
That's propaganda.
Right.
You understand? And we have to understand propaganda when we see it. It says, wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate. Be ye holy, be separate, be amongst your own, be different.
Right.
You understand? It says, be ye separate. You understand? We are not supposed to be like America. We are not supposed to be like the oppressor. We are not supposed to get into all of the things that the oppressor gets into. We are not supposed to expect the things that the oppressor has. You understand? We're not supposed to look upon them like they are the standard. You understand?
Right.
The Most High created this world for our sake. We supposed to be the standard. We are supposed to be the ones that the earth looks up to. But instead, because we want to follow America, these are the conditions that we are in. From civil war to civil rights. What has changed with Israel? Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed because we continually follow an oppressor who has the worst intentions for us.
Right.
You understand? It says, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Listen, if we touch not the unclean thing, if we don't get into homosexuality,
right,
if we don't get into murdering our brothers and sisters, if we don't get into sleeping with our brothers' wives, if we don't get into sleeping with men who are not our husbands as women, you understand what I'm saying? It says, and touch not the unclean thing. These are all the unclean things. Name some other unclean things.
If I could, pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster.
That shrimp, crab, and that lobster.
Interracial marriage.
Listen, touch on that. You understand? Come out from among them. We should not be intermingling and intermarrying our daughters unto their sons and our sons unto their daughters.
Right.
You understand? It says, be ye separate. We supposed to be separate from them. We are not supposed to be among them. You understand? These are the things that keep us stagnant and keep us in the place that we are in. You understand? Go ahead.
Take it from the top?
Yeah, take it from the top again.
Come on, sir. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. Wherefore, come out from among them and be ye separate.
And what does that be ye separate mean?
Be ye holy.
Be ye holy. And don't trust in America and don't be like America.
Right.
That's the problem with us is we want to be too much like America.
Right.
You understand? Just like on the 4th of July, how many people you seen out there in that red, white, and blue, that Star Spangled Banner, all that type of bull? Go ahead.
It's a lot, sir. Look, we took class on 4th of July. That was a Tuesday, right?
We did, didn't we? Yeah.
I did the class, right?
Yeah, okay, right.
My way down here, now mind you, it's a Tuesday.
Right.
On my way down here, barbecue in the front yard, grills out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fireworks. My coworker, he damn near blew his hand off playing with fireworks. You understand? He just came back to work this week.
What was that? Pierre Paul a few years back for the New York Giants blew two of his fingers off.
Night.
Blew two of his fingers off playing with fireworks on the 4th of July.
See?
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Be ye separate. We should not be celebrating the oppressor's holidays.
Right.
This is what that means. Be ye separate. Separate yourself from your oppressor. How do you do that? Not celebrating their holidays. How many people going to be celebrating Labor Day? I think that's the next one coming up, right? Labor Day? That's the next unholy holiday coming up, right? Labor Day. You understand?
It's a day off.
How many people going to be celebrating that? I guess a lot of people, listen, I'm glad we brought that up too, because a lot of people don't even understand what Labor Day is really all about.
Right.
What is Labor Day about? You know what Labor Day is about?
If I'm not mistaken, it's about the labor unions.
About the labor unions. Why were the labor unions started? Why were they created?
To pretty much outsource white workers to eliminate black workers from doing those specialty jobs.
Outsource?
Not a good choice. Word.
Not a good choice.
I mean, you just make it plain, so I'm trying to sound smart.
Yeah, go ahead. You're trying to sound smart. We be doing that. We be doing that. That's what Judah do. You know, go ahead.
So pretty much, it was designed for the white workforce to get the jobs and the contracts, right?
Right.
Because you got to think, we was doing our own work ourselves. We was highly skilled. And so they could pay us pennies on the dollar to do the same jobs that the white boys was doing. So like the other nations was doing, or the oppressor was doing, and not pay them that amount of money. So that's why they created the unions,
right,
to fight and combat having so-called blacks and Hispanics and natives getting these gigs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
If a company could hire it's just like a brother broke down to me a long time ago. He's like, with the Bulls, with the NBA, with the Chicago Bulls, would rather hire a monkey and paying peanuts or Michael Jordan paying millions.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? The same analogy.
Right. All right. That's good right there. We're gonna go a little deeper, right? So-called blacks, Hispanics, natives emancipated in 1865, right?
Right.
1865. 1863, they ain't find out really till 1865, right? In 1865, they began to see little shanty towns go up. 1866, 1867, 1868. They started seeing all these little communities going up. Wow. 3 years. And they already got little cities and towns built up. And they building them finely. You understand why, right? Why? Because remember, all of the artisans, meaning all of the skilled workers, were the slaves.
Right.
Remember, all of the carpenters were the slaves. All of the bricklayers were the slaves. All of the builders were the slaves. Remember this, they always tell us that we could not read in slavery, but they gave us blueprints to read.
Right.
We were taught to read. The only thing we were not allowed to read was the Bible.
Right.
But we were taught to read. When they had to send you out, they sent out the slaves to go get the goods from the what that store called, you know, the little
Home Depot.
Yeah, a little Home Depot that they had back in the day.
Right.
You understand? They sent the slave with a list. Slave had to know he had everything on the list. They gave him money too. He had to know he was getting back his correct money too. You understand? We could do all of that. All of the artisans or the skilled workers or the builders were the slaves. By 1871, they created the first the first labor union. The first labor union was an all-white labor union. It was either 1870 or 1871 was created, the first all-white labor union. They did that to do just what you said. It was to freeze out the slaves because now they were building and everything that they needed built, they had to go to slaves to get done. So this is where slaves were getting money from, because now slaves were so-called emancipated. Now, when they needed things built, they had to actually pay a slave or a former slave to do it.
Right.
So they created the labor union to freeze out all of those artisans or those skilled workers so that those, I'm going to say the wrong word, the oppressors that didn't work, that needed work, that couldn't get work because they knew that the slaves were more skilled. They could pay them less and get that work done at a when you get
wholesale price.
At a wholesale price, but they could get a great job done.
Right. Oh, okay.
This is why the labor unions were started, to freeze out the so-called slave so that they could begin to build and make money. They couldn't make money because everybody was hiring the former slaves to do the work.
Right.
Everybody was getting the former slave to do the work and paying them cheap. So now if we start this labor union, then those slaves can't work because now they making laws. They created laws so that you could not work unless you were in the union. And how can a slave be in an all-white union?
Right.
This is what they did. This is the reason why they had to gather themselves together, O nation not desired. Because now that money got frozen up, now we had to create an industry of our own. So now we had to sponsor, or we had to I'm saying sponsor. We had to use each other. I had to buy from you. You had to buy from him. He had to buy from me. Our money had to circulate in our own communities.
Right.
And now we began to become millionaires. So 20, 30, 40 years after the emancipation, we began to have millionaires. This is what happened. You understand? And this is the reason why the first labor unions were created. You understand? If anybody has a question pertaining to the topic, they can put it in the chat. And if you see any questions, then we're gonna work on that.
Oh, okay.
You understand? All right. So understanding this was another law. Believe it or not, labor unions was basically like a law. You could not work and do certain things unless you were in the labor union.
Right.
Now they're relegating you back to being a dishwasher, or what they had the women doing, washing clothes and stuff like that. You understand what I'm saying? But at that time, that's where you had what's her Madam C.J. Walker and a couple of other sisters, brothers and sisters who were doing their own thing, and then we were supporting each other. That's the word I was looking for. Supporting each other. And that's how we worked it out. Think about this, right? Let's go to the book of Acts. Let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 31. Let me get there before you start. Make sure I'm in the right spot. Acts chapter 4, verse 31. Yep, there we go. And this is a picture of how things were. You understand, back in those days, but this is in the book of Acts. What did Claude Anderson use? What was the phrase that Claude Anderson used in the book?
Black labor, white wealth.
Ethno-aggregation.
Ethno-aggregation.
Ethno-aggregation is basically what we used back then. And like I said something about this some months ago. Ethno-aggregation is something that has always been. The phrase got coined by Dr. Claude Anderson, I believe, in like the mid 2000s or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? I think it was around like 2008, 2009, something like that, when he wrote the book Powernomics. Okay, ethno-aggregation. And ethno-aggregation basically is when a nation of people come together and they bring their resources, use their resources amongst their own people to help their own people to better their situation. Ethno-aggregation, that's in a nutshell. That's not the detailed way to do it, but ethno-aggregation is in the Bible. And right here in Acts chapter 4, verse 31 to 35, it shows a good example of ethno-aggregation. We have to come together and we have to build ourselves up. We cannot rely on another nation of people to build us up. That's what happens to us in America. We become reliant in America to build us up. You understand? America has created welfare. America has created the child support department. America has created ghettos to keep us stagnant in America. You understand? Low housing, low income, and all of these things were created to keep us down. You understand? And the only way we come up out of that, and I ain't saying that people don't come up out of it, but it's not enough people to help us to get everybody out. The only way we all come up out of it is if we come together. This is a prime example right here of ethno-aggregation in the Bible. Read that.
It's the book of Acts chapter 4, verse 31.
Hold up for a minute. Okay, yeah, we can start right there. Go ahead.
It's the book of Acts chapter 4, verse 31. And when they had prayed, the place was shaken where they were assembled together.
Right. They had come together. You understand? And they had gotten counsel from the Most High. How do we get counsel from the Most High?
Through the priests and prophets, sir.
Through the priests and the prophets. Remember?
Okay.
Go ahead.
And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And they spake the word of the Most High with boldness.
Go ahead.
Verse 32. And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart.
Say that again.
And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart.
Go ahead.
And of one soul.
Of one heart and of one soul. What does that remind you of? What's the scripture?
Zephaniah
2:1.
2:1.
Gather yourselves together. You understand? They were of one heart and one soul. You understand? Gather yourself together, ye gather together, O nation not desired. Go ahead.
Come. Neither said any of them that aught of the things which he possessed was his own.
Say that one again. Say that part again.
Neither said any of them that aught of the things which he possessed was his own.
It says, neither said any of them that aught of the things which he possessed was his own. None. Everybody, listen. They had possessions, right?
Right.
But you know how people say, well, that's mine right there. That belonged to me right there. That right there, that's mine. They had things and they had possessions that they didn't claim as their own. Instead of claiming it as their own, they pushed it into the pile and gave of it. Go ahead, read.
Come. But they had all things common.
They had all things common. They all were on one accord. Go ahead.
Verse 33. And with great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and great grace was upon them all.
Go ahead.
Verse 34. Neither was there any among them that lacked.
Say that again.
Neither was there any among them that lacked.
Why was it neither among any of them that lacked?
Slight, sir, if I could.
Go ahead.
Because they had the mindset of what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine.
What's yours is mine and what's mine is yours. Listen, those laws that we have today, those laws that we had after the Reconstruction, they had those same laws against the Jews back then. When I talk about the Jews, I'm talking about the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. They had the same laws. You understand?
Right.
We've always been subjected to these laws. This is not a new thing to Israel. We've always been under laws. We've always been under scrutiny. We've always been under oppression.
Right.
You understand? This is nothing new for us. Just back then, they knew how to come together. They knew how to gather together. You understand? And that's what we're learning today. You understand? In this ISUPK, this is where we find out the truth.
Right.
This is how we find out how to gather together under Commanding General Yohana. Go ahead.
Come. For as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them.
Right? You hear that? As many as was possessors of land and houses, they sold them. They sold them for what? Go ahead.
And brought the price of the things that were sold.
And brought the price of the things that were sold. And bought the money that they had from the things that they sold. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 35. And laid them down at the apostles' feet.
And gave it to the apostles. You understand? Gave it to the apostles. Read on.
And distribution was made unto every man according as he had need.
And everything was given according to as he needed. Listen, they divvied up everything that they sold. They brought the money to the apostles, gave it to the apostles, and the apostles divvied it up as it was needed. No man went broke. No man was in need. Hold up. Wait a minute. I thought there was a part in here did I miss it? And it says, let's see, it says, and laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according as he had need. You know, whenever anybody needed anything, they went to the apostles, and the apostles distributed as every man needed. You understand? That's what happens in here. When brothers go in need, all we do is go to the generals, we go to the captains, we go to the generals, and we get help. Right. That's how it's supposed to be. That's not what the Christian church does. But these are laws that we were subjugated to even in biblical times.
Right.
We think all of this stuff is new to the transatlantic slave trade. None of this stuff is new. Right. We've always been going through this. This is nothing new. You understand? There's no new thing under the sun. That's what the Bible tells us, right?
Right.
We just keep trusting in the oppressor. And as long as we trust in the oppressor, we're going to stay in the condition that we in. You understand? This is why when the oppressor gives us any kind of reparation, it always turns out to be welfare. It always turns out to be a jail cell.
Right.
You understand? Matter of fact, give me Psalms 55 and 20, 21. Wait a minute, hold up. Am I calling the right scripture? Psalms chapter 55, verses 20 and 21.
That's it, sir.
Yep. Give me that.
Book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21.
No, 20.
Verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
And we have been very much at peace with the oppressor. But the oppressor is definitely not at peace with us.
Right.
The creation of every law that he has created to go against us tells us that he is not at peace with us. But we continually trust in our oppressor. We continually go out and vote thinking that something is going to change. Think about it. Brothers and sisters have been voting since the 50s.
Right.
We've been marching since the 50s. All the way up until what?
Today.
A few months ago?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And think about it. How much marching? I think brothers and sisters have marched so much they probably could circle the globe 3 or 4 times.
Right.
Out of all of the marching, what has it gotten us? Let me ask a question. Does the so-called Asian man march?
Lie.
Does the Arab march?
Lie.
Does the African march?
Lie.
Does the East Indian march?
Lie.
Yet they all have resources to sustain their people. We got to be doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? From the Civil War to civil rights, nothing has changed for Israel. Nothing has changed for Israel because Israel keeps doing the same things that keep tying us up with the oppressor.
Right.
The scriptures tell us, come out from among them and be ye separate.
Right.
Be separate. Why can't we come from among America and be separate? Because we keep pledging our allegiance to America.
Right.
We keep trusting and loving America. We keep climbing into bed with America, believing that something is going to change.
Right.
They call that the battered wife syndrome. No matter how much you get beat, we continue to come back. Mm-hmm. That's just like a dog. No matter how much you beat a dog continues to come back and love you. Right. We like that dog that I don't care what you do. You know, you beat me. I'm continue to come back. Right. We keep seeing our women on TV. What can I do? First thing you can do is bring that man back in your house. Build your household back up. Follow your man. Think about it. The Bible says that God created Eve to be a helpmeet unto Adam, right? Women say what? I can do bad by myself.
That's right.
I don't need a man. Listening to all of those songs have destroyed us. I didn't say just destroy women, but I said destroy us, because anytime you remove any part of the black family, we are destroyed.
Right.
You remove the man from the home, right? The oppressor comes in and demolishes the home. You remove the children and there's no more reproduction.
Right.
Think about Margaret Sanger and the eugenics project. You understand? Mm-hmm. That they call Planned Parenthood.
Right.
All of these laws and everything they fighting for in those books have been created to destroy us since the beginning. Think about it. Margaret Sanger wrote that letter. She wrote that letter, what, in 1932? How many years were we out of the emancipation? That's only about 50, 60 years. She already had that in her mind in the 20s. Think about it, right? She wrote that in about 1932 or something like that, right after they started destroying all the black cities and towns around America. Mm-hmm. Most notably, Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921. Right. In 1921, in 1932, 11 years later, she's sitting there masterminding how to destroy black children and the black family.
Mm-hmm.
All these laws were created to destroy us.
Right.
You understand? Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The Bible tells us to separate.
Right.
You understand? The Most High says we are a special people unto himself. You understand? We are a holy people. What does it mean to be holy? To be separate. Why can't we be separate? Why can't we build our own? Why can't we rely on our own? You understand? The first thing we have to do is stop supporting the nations that do not support us.
Right.
You understand? That don't mean we got to pick up and we got to pack up and we got to move to Africa or move to another nation. We can do that right here. All the other nations do it.
Right.
You understand? Why do we got to keep supporting other nations that come into our neighborhood, but those nations don't support us? You understand?
Come.
That's the first thing that we have to do. Let me see. Where am I looking for? Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 30. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go back. Let's finish off this scripture right here. Go ahead.
Come, sir. It's book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
And listen, he put forth his hands as such that be at peace with him. We always at peace with him, right?
Right.
We always at peace with the oppressor, but the oppressor always wants to go to war with us. Think about it, right? Look at all of the covenants he wrote. You know, I mean, all of the what they call it, all of the peace treaties he wrote with the Native American Indians.
Right.
Over 177 peace treaties, and he broke each one of them. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. I saw on CNN, they said that it was over 200 peace treaties that America made with the Native Indians. And CNN said they are still breaking those peace treaties to this day. That's from the mouth of the oppressor.
Right.
That's from the mouth of the oppressor. Why do we continually rely in a nation that has no love for us? Go ahead, read.
He hath broken his covenant.
He had broken his covenant. Go ahead.
Verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
That's it right there. The words of his mouth are smoother than butter, so much so that we believe everything that he says. Every year they talk about, oh, you know what? Every 4 years they talk about we need to get reparations on the board. That's that smooth as butter.
Mm-hmm.
It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. That's that butter right there. So slick and conniving. You understand? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Read on.
But war was in his heart.
But war was in his heart. Over 2 million brothers in prison today. Listen, America has the highest prison rate of any country on the face of this earth by capita. Think about this. China has billions, and their incarceration rate is still lower than ours.
Right.
Why is that? America knows exactly who they have in captivity.
Right.
We just don't know who we are. You understand what I'm saying? We are the only people on the face of the earth don't know who we are. We keep following, we keep trusting in America, right? I want to drop that, and I want to go to Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. We keep trusting in America. We keep believing that America is going to do something different for us. We keep believing the word. They send people out to our churches every year. Every year. You understand? We just come out to see what the slaves want. What do the slaves want? What y'all slaves want this year? You understand? So we can give it to y'all. We're going to put it on the books. You understand? Just to get that vote.
Right.
Just to get that security. Just to get that belief going. You understand?
Right.
You got that?
Come on.
Go ahead, read that.
This book of Isaiah, chapter 30 and 1. Woe to the rebellious children.
What does that word woe mean?
Destruction.
Destruction to who?
The rebellious children.
Who are the rebellious children?
So-called blacks, Latinos, and First Nations.
Read on.
Saith the Lord, that take counsel.
That take what?
That take counsel.
That take what?
That take counsel.
Read on.
But not of me.
It says that take counsel, but not of me. We take counsel in America. We believe in America. We believe the lies of America. We take counsel of America. Read on.
And that covering, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit.
Let's say that again.
And that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit.
What does that mean? To cover with a covering, but not of the spirit.
So, for example, it means they're covering themselves in another nation's philosophies and not the customs of our own that the Lord gave us. The law, statutes, and commandments we fled from.
Believing in democracy, believing in the democratic system, believing in the Republican system, believing in the flag, believing in the pledge. This is covering of a covering, but not of his spirit, not of the spirit of the Most High. You understand? Mm-hmm. We believe in everything about America. We believe America is going to cover us. We believe America is going to protect us. America has not protected us since we hit the shores.
Right.
What has changed? Nothing has changed. You understand? We got to stop believing in America. You understand? Read on.
But not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
And they may add sin to sin. Listen, as long as we continue to believe in America and follow the doctrines of America, we will add sin onto sin. You understand? Mm-hmm. America says it's okay to be gay.
Right.
America says a man can marry a man and a woman can marry a woman. You understand? That's adding sin unto sin. America believes that pork is the new white meat.
Right.
You understand? America believes in shrimp, crab, and lobster. America believes in murder. America believes in getting high. America believes in destroying their brothers and sisters. You understand? America believes in adding sin unto sin. Read on.
Verse 2. That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth.
Go ahead.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh.
And restart back at that number 2 again.
That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth.
Listen, that walk to go down into Egypt and not have asked of his mouth, shaking hands with America, making covenants with America, making alliances with America, interracial marriage, marrying heathens from these other nations. You understand? That international marriage, interracial marriage and all of those things.
Right.
These are walking down into Egypt and you understand, and have not asked at his mouth. You understand? These are the things that the Most High told us not to do. We're doing the very things that the Most High told us not to do. It says, and have not asked of my mouth. Read on.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh.
Now, that's what you was talking about right there. Read on.
And to trust in the shadows of Egypt.
That's trusting in the customs and cultures of America.
Right.
Believing in everything that America believes in. Believing that America is one big melting pot. You understand? When that's the furthest thing from the truth. America has never been a United States. America has always been divided. If America is not the divided states of America, America's laws would be the same for every state. Laws change from state to state.
Right.
This America is divided. Right. This is the reason why they have Democrats and Republicans. You understand? This is the reason why, you understand, we go through what we go through, because America is divided. America is just what America is. You understand? But the Most High tells us to do what? Be ye separate. You understand?
Right.
Be ye separate. Be holy. Be separate. Be you can be among them, but not be of them.
Right.
That's all we have to do. Be ye separate. We have to learn to bring up our own. We have to learn ethno-aggregation. We have to learn to take care of our own. I think one of those scriptures, what's the scripture that says we should not rely on the food of other man's table or something like that? The bread from another man's table or something like that. You understand? Salakia. I'm just paraphrasing. But we should not rely on another people to take care of us. We should not be looking for welfare. We should be looking to build up. Think about it, right? All of these other nations come over here, and these people that come over here from these other nations are not millionaires. They just get subsidized by America. You understand? They get spotted by America.
Right.
Well, because America does not want to spot us, we need to start spotting our own. We need to start taking care of our own. Go ahead, read.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 40 and 29. The life of a man, the life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life.
You hear that? Read that again.
The book of Ecclesiastes, 40 and 29. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table.
The life of him that dependeth on another man's table. And that's just what we do today. We depend on another man's table. We depend on the table of America. Read on.
Is not to be counted for a life.
Is not to be counted for a life. Now, listen, that scripture, Zephaniah 2:1, is a bedrock scripture. Gather yourself together, O nation not desired. Listen, we got to move away from their table. We have to build our own table. We have to understand that we are a nation of people not desired and help our own people. That's all we got to do.
Right.
Listen, everything that we have to do sits right here in these scriptures. Everything that we have to do is right here in this book. All of our laws, statutes, and commandments lie right here in this book.
Right.
All we have to do is follow it. Follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. All we have to do is do what the Most High told us, and we could be up out of this hellhole in no time flat.
Right.
In no time flat. But nobody wants to trust in the Most High. Nobody wants to trust in these laws, statutes, and commandments. Everybody wants to do his own thing. Everybody wants to believe in Egyptology, Islam, Christianity, and everything else under the sun except for these laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
Give me Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. As a matter of fact, hold that. Let's go to that second article.
Come on, sir.
That's the Jim Crow, right?
Come on.
As a matter of fact, no, we're going to hold that for next week.
Come on.
We're going to hold that for next week. Give me Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14.
11
I think it's 11 and, hold on, let me see.
14.
Let me make sure. Boom. Yep, 11 and 14.
Come on, sir. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and verse 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall.
Hey, listen, where no counsel is, the people fall. You understand? Even under these laws that they have created to destroy us, these black codes and all these other laws that they have created to keep us in bondage, it says where no counsel is, the people fall. But read on.
But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Right here in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Right here in the UPK,
right,
there is safety. You understand? These scriptures have been brought back into this earth for us to follow. You understand? And under these laws, statutes, and commandments, right here in this ISUPK Israelite school under commanding General Yohana.
That's right.
This is where you learn to come back to the truth. You understand? This is where we learn to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. All we have to do is follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. Listen, from the Civil War to civil rights, we have been doing the same thing, and we have had the same outcome. Nothing has changed with our people. You understand? When do we make that change to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments? Think about this: the so-called Jewish man took the first 5 books of the Bible, and he damn near runs the earth.
Right.
Imagine if we took this whole book and began to communicate and began to come together on one accord under these laws, statutes, and commandments. Imagine what we could do. All we got to do is come back to what the Most High has totally given us off the bump. That's all we got to do.
Right.
You understand? Come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments under commanding General Yohana. Leave this America alone. Let America die and burn to herself. You understand? And with that, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We've been bringing this truth since 1969. And what is that truth? That truth is the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives are the true biblical Jews of the Bible, and oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
With that, I'm going to turn the class over to Priest Officer Nadawa.
Security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry, ties, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18 and 21, and Malachi 3, verse 8 through 10, means 10th in Hebrew, and is pronounced Ma'asharah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give. Upcoming holy convocations, the memorial blowing the trumpets, which is September the 15th. You understand? Remember Akim and Akwathium to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so forth. And so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he has to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headscarves, headbands, or scarves. Give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel, mighty. Mighty Shabbat, mighty. Rock. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
Class dismissed.